Welcome to Global News on Signature TV. I am Barry Kumo Ado. In the headlines, the Patriots demand conduct of all elections on same day. Plateau government slams military for failing to protect residents. Rwanda exercises command and control over M23 rebels, say UN experts. And blast at Los Angeles Sheriff's facility kills 3 deputies. Details shortly.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
The former governor of Akwa Ibom State, Victor Atta, has faulted the 1999 constitution, describing it as a military constitution that lacks the input of Nigerians. Atta stated this at a national summit on the future of Nigeria's constitutional democracy held in Abuja. Signature TV correspondent Nasiru Usman now reports.
The Abuja summit, which will run for 2 days, aims to push for fundamental amendments in the 1999 Constitution to make it inclusive and equitable. Political leaders, patriots, intellectuals, and interests from across the country are taking part in the Abuja summit.
What's going on this week is just like a climax. This thing has been going on for various zones. All the 6 zones have had cause to come together to evaluate, to make comments, to make suggestions. And what we're just trying to do, like I've said earlier on, is to collate all of this, distill them, and then turn them away from a cacophony of voices to a solid document.
This constitutional conference, we are seeking that powers to be devolved. Too much power at the center. Unitary system has not favored us. We never favor us. We are a federation, and so the federating units must have enough power.
Where are the granite pyramids? We don't see them again. Where is the huge? We're number 1 in producing cocoa in the world. Why don't we produce again? Because everybody is today depending on the oil from Niger Delta. We'll come and sit down and share the oil. But our fathers didn't do that. Our fathers had granite pyramids, and they had all these other things to produce. We're a productive country. We're not only consuming.
The former governor of Akwa Ibom State, Victor Atta, faulted the 1999 Constitution as a document forced on the people. He said that the Constitution needed to be amended for inclusivity and to promote constructive collaboration among all sectors of Nigeria.
The legitimacy of the 1999 Constitution, the viability of our current political system, the path towards restoring true sovereignty to the Nigerian people. This agenda, therefore, is not only the right one, but it is in fact the only one that matters now. We endorse it in its entirety because the truth is this: the 1999 Constitution was not the people's constitution. It was a military decree imposed without the consent of the people. The military suspended the 1963 Constitution, which remains the last legal expression of our people's collective will and agreed terms of conditions for staying together. That Constitution, I'd like to emphasize, was suspended.
While officially declaring the event open, former Secretary General of the Commonwealth, Chief Emeka Anyoku, spoke on the significance of the summit.
Our present 1999 Constitution, as amended, is not such a constitution. It was not democratically formulated. It was instead imposed on the country through a decree by the military administration. And the governance system derived from it is not only non-inclusive, but also induces over-expenditure of the nation's resources on administration rather than on capital development. Hence, the need for a new constitution made by the peoples of our country.
Other delegates spoke to journalists on the expectations from the summit.
103 million Nigerians are living under multidimensional poverty. 18.5 million Nigerian children are out of school. More than 70% of these numbers that I just shown out are children with disabilities and people with disabilities. And there's a correlationship between poverty and disabilities.
Whether it is the present constitution, as imperfect as it is, or a new constitution, if it stems out of platforms like this, it doesn't really matter if the operators of the constitution are not ready to live by the rule of law. So it is very, very important, value reorientation and, coming up with handlers who will see the constitution as not just an ordinary document, but the very document that creates our existence, creates all the organs and the institutions within the federation called Nigeria.
I believe women already are 50% of the population anyway. And to find that in the National Assembly and in many other positions, we find women in very, very almost skeletal positions. This needs to be done and things need to be done to improve this. Also, in terms of children, education, I believe education also needs to be placed in a more pivotal position than it is now, especially for childhood education.
The objective of the National Summit is to create from the present constitution a new document that speaks to the aspirations of Nigerians across all regions and institute a governance structure that frees the potentials of the black man's most populous nation. In Abuja, Nasiru Usman reporting for Signature TV.
A group of eminent Nigerian elder statesmen, the Patriots, has called for urgent electoral reforms to allow for free and fair polls in the 2027 general elections. In a communique issued at the end of a three-day summit held in Abuja, the group noted that free, fair and credible elections are the real pillars of democracy, specifically demanded that all national elections be held on the same day. It lamented that democracy in the country has been taken away from the control of voters, stressing that elections are too costly and prone to fraud, with billions of naira spent on recruitment of electoral officers, security agencies and logistics, while the courts have become the real electors of leaders. The summit also demanded amendment to the Electoral Act and relevant sections of the 1999 Constitution as amended for bimodal voter accreditation system, BVAS, and electronic transmission of results in real time to be made mandatory. The Patriots urged the National Assembly to evolve a constitutional framework that will return Nigeria to a truly federal system of government, where the federating units would enjoy their autonomy as obtained in the First Republic and other genuine democracies of the world. The 2025 National Summit, led by former Secretary General of the Commonwealth, Chief Emeka Anyoko, was convened by the Patriots in collaboration with the Nigerian Political Summit Group, NPSG. Faction of the Labour Party, Statutory National Executive Committee NEC, has elected Senator Nenadi Usman as the interim national chairman and Senator Darlington Mokocha as interim national secretary, among others, as members of the party's interim working committee. Nenadi was elected on Friday during the party's NEC meeting in Abuja. Interim working committee is expected to oversee all party activities till the party's convention, when elections for a new NEC will be conducted. Other resolutions reached during the meeting include the approval of a schedule for the conduct of ward congresses, local government area congresses, state congresses, zonal congresses, and the national convention of the Labour Party. National Secretariat of the party is mandated to publish the guidelines and timelines to ensure transparent and democratic elections at all levels. Reactions have continued to trail the unveiling of the opposition coalition party, African Democratic Congress ADC. The platform has brought together several political heavyweights ahead of the 2027 general elections. Christopher Lele, who sampled the opinions of Nigerians, said the reactions are varied.
Some political analysts have often faulted the amount of time spent by successive governments in the country on politicking and party activities, leaving actual governance to take the back seat. This worrying development appears to have even gotten worse in the new dispensation, where barely 2 years to the life of the administration, the ruling party, the All Progressives Congress, has announced the incumbent president as its sole candidate ahead of the 2027 election. There has also been increasing defections into the party in power from the opposition politicians who apparently want to position themselves ahead of the elections or even for immediate appointments. And bent on ousting the present administration, some heavyweights in the opposition camps, after several months of deliberations, appear to have found a common ground in the African Democratic Congress as a platform to do the battle. But the big question is whether the ADC has what it takes to unseat President Tinubu, who many believe is a veteran in the game of politics and political maneuvering.
As a Nigerian and as a political follower of what has been happening so far, my candid opinion is that the coalition is a good thing if everybody has sincerity of purpose. But the only thing that would affect that coalition would be when they are not able to decide on a single presidential candidate. That is where they will have problems in trying to unseat the current government.
Nobody knows, just like how Labour Party came, people were like happy, but the major thing we are looking at is credible candidates. So credible candidates can come out from any party. Credible candidates can come out from any party. So we don't know if it's going to come out from ADC or Labour Party or PDP. We are not so much concerned about the party. We are concerned about individuals, credible individuals coming out from any political party. That is the only thing I believe can withstand any force that is coming up as opposition. That is my take.
All right. And
I think the caliber of people in that ADC, we have the timber and caliber there. But one problem that is being expected there, if care is not taken, is when it comes to selecting the presidential candidates. If they don't take care and do it, take very good care of that situation, it may make the ADC. Because when people are just looking, watching to see whom they will give that presidential ticket, and it counts. It will count. Because if it's given to a wrong person, then definitely the party will just crumble, just like other political parties.
With 2 years to the next presidential election and with about 70% of the population made up of youths, the involvement of the youth population in the coming election is also of interest for political watchers.
Yes, youth will come out in their numbers. I believe in the youth power. Youth will. I will also come out, and I'm going to lead my followers also to come out.
INEC is the major problem that the youth see as what they will affect their trust in the electoral process. So if we as Nigerians will work on INEC, because I had an experience where my voter's card I registered in Lagos. I was in Enugu and I got a text message from INEC to come and collect my voter's card in Lagos. I drove from here to Lagos only for INEC officials to tell me that my name is not in the register. Do you understand? So that kind of fraudulent activity that happens inside INEC is the major problem that Nigeria will definitely always have. So if we work on INEC before 2027, it doesn't matter the coalition or not, as in the mind of Nigerians will come true.
There will be voter apathy, but that we have to sensitize the youth to do the best they can. Because this time, if these people bring the sellable candidates, you will see people trooping to vote for that very person. So if a credible candidate is placed now, we see a change of heart of the youths.
The quest for a better Nigeria is coming at a time when Nigeria's democracy is under heightened scrutiny, ranging from questions about the credibility of the electoral process to calls for greater political inclusiveness and institutional accountability. Christopher Lele reporting for Signature TV.
Edo State Governor Monday Okpebholo has issued a strong warning to the 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi, cautioning him against entering the state without prior notification and approval. Governor Okpebholo's warning marks the second time Obi has been cautioned by an All Progressives Congress APC-led state over visits, including those reportedly for humanitarian purposes. Addressing a gathering of political supporters, the governor made it clear that Obi's security would not be assured should he enter Edo State without officially informing the state government. The governor also referenced a previous visit by Obi, during which he allegedly donated 15 million naira, questioned the source of the funds, pointing out the contradiction between Obi's public statements and his financial contributions. The development comes on the heels of a similar episode in April, when Obi was reportedly warned against visiting Benue State. At the time, his visit was intended for an internally displaced persons IDP camp, hosting victims of herdsmen-related violence. President Bola Tinubu has appointed Muhammadu Babangida, a son of former military president Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, as chairman of the Bank of Agriculture, signaling a new phase of leadership at the institution as part of ongoing reforms in the agricultural sector. The announcement was made on Thursday through a statement issued by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga. According to the statement, the appointment is part of a broader reshuffle aimed at repositioning strategic federal agencies for improved service delivery and policy execution. Alongside Muhammad Babangida, 7 other individuals were named as new chairpersons or heads of key national institutions. Ondo State Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa on Friday declared that true federalism is a path forward for Nigeria's development. Ayedatiwa stated that the Sunshine State aligns with the Southwest geopolitical zone in advocating for true federalism that reflects the socio-political, cultural and economic realities of the federated units. He made a statement at the Southwest Center B public hearing of the House of Representatives Committee on the review of the 1999 Constitution as amended, held at the International Culture and Event Center, Akure, the state capital. The governor described the public hearing as an opportunity for the people to re-examine the framework of the country's governance structure, identify areas needed reform, and make informed amendments to enhance Nigeria's stability, security, and development. Up ahead, Center for Memories partners Signature TV for preservation of Igbo heritage. Doctors in Abia State reject Nigerian government's circular on salary, backs national body. Details of these and more after the break.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Is enacting the Nigerian army over its failure to arrest and neutralize gunmen who invaded Jebu Binde village of Tahouse district in Riyom local government area on Monday, where over 30 people were killed and property worth millions of naira destroyed. The Commissioner for Information, Joyce Rapmanap, who spoke on television program on Friday, blamed the military for not arresting or neutralizing any of the gunmen were suspected to be Fulani militias despite the proximity of a checkpoint to the community. RAPNAP noted that with a military checkpoint barely 200 meters from the attacked community, the troops would have easily apprehended the attackers but failed to do so, a development which has raised questions on their commitment to protecting the life and property of Nigerians. She said the government was expectorated that the community that was attacked by the marauders is close to an access road which has military checkpoints, describing the fresh killings as unprovoked and despicable. The commissioner assured that the state government will do everything possible to protect the people from further attacks by bloodthirsty marauders and ensure that peace returns to the state. The Enugu State Police Command says it has recorded a series of breakthroughs in its intensified crackdown on kidnapping and other violent crimes, leading to arrest of 5 suspects and rescue of a kidnapped victim. Spokesperson for the command, Daniel Ndukwe, disclosed in a statement in Enugu that the successful operations, which spanned from July 5 to 16, 2025, were carried out by various tactical squads in synergy with community security outfits, including the Neighborhood Watch, forest guards, and local hunters. Ndukwe disclosed that police operatives attached to the Okpuje division, acting on a distress call, stormed a forest in Okpuje Ani community in Soka local government area, where a group of armed kidnappers had been sighted. The hoodlums opened fire on the approaching team, prompting a swift counterattack that led to the death of one of the suspects, while the team recovered an AK-47 rifle loaded with 2 live rounds of ammunition from a neutralized suspect, while others fled. Another development, the Anti-Cultism Tactical Squad apprehended 2 female suspects, Juliet Chukwu, aged 39, and 40-year-old Nancy Chukwu, who were caught sharing 10 million naira ransom allegedly collected from their kingsmen after a failed kidnap plot. The sisters, who claimed to be law enforcement officers, were arrested a day after the botched abduction, while the kidnapped victim was rescued unhurt. And a Toyota Corolla vehicle, along with the entire ransom sum, was recovered. The Abia State Police Command says it has discovered and destroyed camps used by criminals along Uturu-Issaquato axis in Abia State and arrested 4 suspected criminals inside their hideout. Command also said that it recovered various exhibits during the operation, including 1 locally made pistol, 1 knife, 1 iPhone 7 Plus, 1 Infinix phone, and 1 laptop computer. A statement by the spokesperson of the command, Maureen Chinaka, named the arrested suspects to include Jerry Chisom Tochuko Ugola, Chinonso Mwako, and Kingsley Onyekaba. Chinaka said the report was received at Uturu Divisional Police Headquarters on the 16th of this month regarding a group of suspected armed robbers who have been terrorizing and dispossessing students of the Abia State University, Uturu, and other residents of their belongings. Officers from the Uturu Division Headquarters, in collaboration with local residents led by the divisional police officer, successfully traced the hideout of a suspect and apprehended the male suspect, saying that there were ongoing efforts to read the area of criminal elements and activities. The statement urged Abia residents to report suspicious persons and activities through the command's emergency phone hotlines. The Nigeria Police Force has announced the rescue of 31 kidnapped victims in 2 separate operations in Taraba and Edo States. The Force Public Relations Officer, Olumuyiwa Adejobi, who disclosed this in a statement on Friday, explained that efforts are currently being intensified to ensure the apprehension and prosecution of the fleeing perpetrators. Said the successful outcomes reflect the reinforced commitment of the Nigerian police force to citizen protection and national security. He commended the gallantry and swift action of the operatives involved in both operations and assured the public that targeted operations to dismantle criminal networks across the country will continue with renewed vigor. The Center for Memories, Enugu, and Signature TV have agreed to go into a partnership aimed at promoting and preserving the Igbo history, language, and culture. 2 organizations reached agreement when the management of the center visited Raymond Dekwasi corporate headquarters of Signature TV, Thinkers Corner, Enugu. Correspondent Christopher Daly has a story.
Founded in 2017, the Center for Memories, located in the southeastern city of Enugu, has operated with a slogan, Maka Onya Ta Na Echi, which translates to for yesterday, today, and tomorrow. It was established as a hub for the preservation and promotion of the culture and history of Ndi Igbo. To carry out this divine mandate, the center has collaborated with artists, museums, and other cultural institutions in creating exhibitions celebrating Igbo language as well-held memorials for key historical moments, and hosted book clubs, readings, and speaker series with notable figures. It has formed educative programs for children featuring Igbo language, art, and history, and despite the major challenge of funding, the Center for Memories has drawn over 10,000 visitors. The center believes that by collaborating with a reputable media organization like Signature TV, it will be able to discharge its set objectives more effectively. The center's executive director, Ihai Igboko, noted that the collaboration with Signature TV primarily is to conserve and promote Igbo history, language, and culture. Igboko further said that Africans, especially the Igbos, have not done enough to have materials for research purposes.
Your work is one that we deem very important, not just for our Igbo, but for our society. Because for every society that must, develop and move, and there has to be some level of conversations, communication, strategy, idea, and that is the gap. If we begin to reach out to you to see how we can formalize this in terms of partnership, then it means that we are ignorant of what you're doing and ignorant of where we need to be. And this visit underscores that we want to work better with Signature. We want Signature to be, to be a permanent feature in what the center is doing, and we also look out for ways that the center can also, contribute to the work that you're doing, because your work is a very important work for us, for Ndi Igbo, for Nigeria, for our society.
President and Chief Executive Officer of Signature TV, Vin Martin Obiora Ilo, expressed the readiness of the station to partner with the center to create more memories on screen and promote Igbo culture to the world. He noted that the Center for Memories came at the right time of cultural revocation for the Igbo people.
Between Center for Memories and us, we can identify some Igbo culture that is dying, that we can do documentaries on. Proper research, the proper people to talk to, and like 30 minutes or 1 hour, those are things we have to decide on. The basic thing is that we'd like to collaborate and we'd like to partner.
It is expected that the relationship between the two organizations will not only help in preserving the heritage of the people, but go a long way to rekindle the interest of the younger generation in positive values embedded in Igbo culture and history. Christopher Lele, reporting for Signature TV.
President Bola Tinubu on Friday in Kano described the late Aminu Dantata as a titan of integrity, humility, and generosity, whose life was dedicated to service, philanthropy, and devotion to others. Tinubu said this during a condolence visit to the family of a late business mogul in Kano. Tinubu said Dantata embodied the highest values of public service and human compassion. Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, disclosed details of a visit in a statement he signed Friday. In Kano, President Tinubu pays tribute to Aminu Dantata. The renowned industrialist passed on Saturday, June 28, 2025 in Dubai at the age of 94 and was buried in Medina, Saudi Arabia on Tuesday, July 1, 2025. Nigerian Medical Association NMA Abia State Chapter has rejected the June 27, 2025 circular from the National Salary, Income and Wages Commission NSIWC, demanding a circular that reflects the previous agreements reached between the federal government and NMA. NMA made its position known at its secretariat in Umuahia on Friday. The chairman of NMA Abia State, Dr. Izuruke Ezimwa, who addressed the press on the matter, said its chapter is in full support of a 21-day ultimatum given to the federal government by the national body of the NMA led by its president, Professor Bala Mohammed Audu, an 18-point demand. He said that the recent circular, dated June 27, 2025, was a gross violation of agreements negotiated and agreed upon during collective bargaining with the federal government of Nigeria. Dr. Zurike, who said that disregard for the due process and agreement is an affront to democratic governance, regretting that the welfare of doctors is still being relegated to the background, which he blamed for the increasing exodus of medical doctors to foreign countries. Dangote Petroleum Refinery has disclosed plans to reintroduce its suspended 5 naira per litre fuel discount scheme for its strategic partners after temporarily halting the initiative due to reported infractions by some participating marketers. Press had exclusively revealed early on Friday that refinery uncovered a fresh racket involving some of its affiliate marketers and strategic partners who have been diverting subsidized refined petroleum products for profit, prompting the suspension of the refinery's discounted supply scheme. The rebate, designed to support Dangote's registered affiliate marketers in achieving stable profit margins amid price competition from fuel importers, while also guaranteeing nationwide availability of the refinery's product, was paused on July 13, following allegations of diversion and abuse of authority by certain dealers. However, in a fresh update, senior official of the refinery who requested anonymity said the scheme will be reintroduced very soon. The official noted that the refinery is working to ensure that the new scheme will be in a more transparent and structured format. Coming up is a Stock News report.
The Nigerian exchange recorded a total of over 2 billion shares traded in 28,585 deals, corresponding to a market value of 39.57 billion naira at the end of the last weekday session, Friday, July 18, 2025. Compared to the previous trading session, trading volume rose by 85%, while turnover declined by 7% and the number of deals dropped by 24%. The market capitalization of the NGX currently stands at 83.3 trillion naira. Trading on the Nigerian exchange ended with 46 gainers and 25 losers out of 129 participating equities. NCR Nigeria led the gainers chart with a 10% increase to close at 6 naira 60 kobo, followed by Learn Africa and UPDC, both up by 10%, and Boasment, which gained 9.98%. On the losers list, Red Star Express recorded the steepest decline of 9.97% to close at 12 naira 92 kobo per share, followed by Union Deacon Salt with a decrease of 9.62%. The Nigerian Exchange All-Share Index gained 1,301.77 points, representing a 1% increase to close at 131,585.64 at the end of the last trading session. This performance reflects a 5.74% gain on the week, an 11.64% gain over the past 4 weeks, and a 27.84% gain year-to-date. The rise in the ASI signals sustained investor interest across key sectors of the market. The Nigerian Naira remained steady on Friday, July 18th, with official rates hovering around 1,527 naira 64 kobo to the dollar. In the parallel market, dealers reported a range of 1,525 naira to 1,535 naira per dollar, with top rates around 1,535 naira. The central bank's continued interventions via strategic dollar sales appear to be keeping market volatility in check. That's the update from the Nigerian stock and money market this Saturday morning. I am Tomsinime Natus.
Still to come, U.S. Secretary of Defense Hexet meets with Israeli Defense Minister Katz. Christian leaders visit Catholic Church in Gaza, hit by Israeli strike. This and more after the break.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking. Events occur and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Rwanda has exercised command and control over M23 rebels during the advance in eastern Congo, gaining political influence and access to mineral-rich territory, according to a confidential report by a group of United Nations experts. The report obtained details training which the experts say Rwanda has provided to M23 recruits and military equipment. They say Rwanda has deployed notably high-tech systems capable of neutralizing air assets to give the rebels a decisive tactical advantage over Congo's beleaguered army. The report was submitted to the UN Security Council Sanctions Committee for Congo in early May and is due to be published shortly, said diplomats. M23 has advanced in eastern Congo, seizing the region's two largest cities, Goma and Bukavu. In January and February, Congo, the United Nations and Western powers say Rwanda is supporting M23 by sending troops and arms. Rwanda has long denied helping M23 and says its forces are acting in self-defense against Congo's army and ethnic Hutu militia men linked to the 1994 Rwandan genocide, including the Democratic Forces for the Liberation of Rwanda, FDLR.
En soutien de leurs marionnettes du M23, poursuivent leur entreprise terroriste sur notre territoire, semant la terreur et la désolation.
On Friday reiterated its threat of imposing tariffs on members of a BRICS group of nations and said the group will end very quickly if they ever form in a meaningful way. Trump also said he was committed to preserving the dollar's global status as a reserve currency and pledged to never allow the creation of a central bank digital currency in the United States.
This little group called BRICS is fading out fast, but BRICS is, they wanted to try and take over the dollar, the dominance of the dollar and the standard of the dollar. And I said, anybody that's in the BRICS consortium of nations, we're going to tariff you 10%. And they had a meeting the following day, and almost nobody showed up. They said, leave me alone. They didn't want to be tariffed to there. It's amazing. Currency is so important. You know, we all said that would be like losing a world war. We can never let anyone play games with us, and that's why when I heard about this group from BRICS, 6 countries basically, I hit them very, very hard. And if they ever really form in a meaningful way, it will end very quickly. I will tell you for them. They won't be gone very long. I don't think they'll even do it. They're virtually afraid to meet. I also remain fully committed to my pledge never to allow the creation of a central bank digital currency in America. It won't happen.
Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz met with U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth at the Pentagon on Friday. The meeting comes as Israel launched strikes against Syrian government forces in southwestern Syria. Earlier this week, Katz was greeted with an honor cordon at the Pentagon ahead of his meeting with Hegseth. He praised President Trump's brave and historic decision to strike Iran's nuclear facilities in June. A new U.S. assessment has found that U.S. strikes in June mostly destroyed one of the 3 targeted Iranian nuclear sites, but the other 2 were not as badly damaged. NBC News reported on Thursday, citing current and former U.S. officials. Reports said that U.S. officials believe the attack on Iran's Fordo nuclear facility was successful in setting back enrichment capabilities there by as much as 2 years, citing 2 current officials. The 2 other facilities that the U.S. struck were not as badly damaged and may have been degraded only to a point where nuclear enrichment could resume in the next several months if Iran wants it to, the report added.
With Israel, committed to reinforcing your right to self-defense, and whether it's new capabilities, that defense, or a lasting peace, we look forward to working together even more. So, Mr. Minister, thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for your kind hospitality. I would like to express just how much I'm impressed with Operation Midnight Hammer. It was a brave and historic decision by President Trump. Together, we destroyed the Iranian nuclear program. We destroyed the Iranian nuclear program.
You can say that a third time for the press if you want.
I tell it for everyone.
Israeli military said late on Friday that it anticipated a missile launched from Yemen after air raid sirens sounded in several areas across Israel. The Iran-aligned Houthis, who control the most populous parts of Yemen, have been firing at Israel and attacking shipping lanes. Houthis have repeatedly said that their attacks are an act of solidarity with Palestinians in Gaza, where Israel's military assault since late 2023 has killed more than 58,000 people, Gaza authorities say. Most of the dozens of missiles and drones they have launched have been intercepted or fallen short. Israel has carried out a series of retaliatory strikes. Church leaders entered Gaza on Friday to visit the Holy Family Church a day after it was hit in a deadly Israeli airstrike. Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem, Archbishop Baptista Pizzaballa, Greek Orthodox Patriarch of Jerusalem, Theophilus III, and Greek Orthodox Patriarchate Archbishop Alexios met with parish priest Gabriel Romanelli, who was among those injured when the compound of Gaza's Seoul Catholic Church was struck and damaged on Thursday. The leaders also visited a Greek Orthodox Saint Porphyrius Church and Al Hilal Arab Hospital in Gaza City. 3 people died and several were injured in a strike on the Holy Family Church compound. Picture shows its roof had been hit close to the main cross, scorching the stone facade and shattering windows. The church has sheltered hundreds of Palestinians since the start of Israel's military campaign against Hamas in the enclave in October 2023, following the group's deadly attack on Israel. A 19-year-old immigrant is back with his family in New York City after being held in detention for a month. High school student Dallas Cushion was reunited with loved ones at Manhattan Port Authority bus terminal on Friday for his release from a detention facility in Texas. The New York Legal Assistance Group, which represented Churchill, said it was detained without any notice or process at his immigration court appearance in New York City in June. It was initially held at 26 Federal Plaza in Manhattan and then transferred to a detention facility in Texas. Melissa Cho, a co-director of NYLAG's Immigration Protection Unit, said that Cousin had entered the United States legally and applied for asylum in accordance with immigration law, said the detention separated him from his family, school and community, even though he had no criminal record and was actively pursuing his legal case. In order to secure a bond for his release, Lauren Rept, Associate Director of NYLAG's Immigration Protection Unit, said the team had to demonstrate their client was neither a danger to society nor a flight risk. The nonprofit Aviation Freedom Fund paid the $20,000 bond. As Chosen begins the next steps in his asylum process, his legal team said they would work to transfer his case back to New York so that it can remain close to its support system. British anti-immigration protesters scuffled with police in the town of Epping outside London on Thursday. Police vehicles and hotel used to house asylum seekers were damaged, and one officer sustained a minor injury, Access Police said in a statement. Video showed one protester throwing a plastic bottle of milk at a group of counter-protesters with banners reading "Refugees Welcome." A conservative leader of a local district council had called for the Home Office to stop housing asylum seekers at the hotel, where the protest took place after an arrest of an asylum seeker on suspicion of alleged sexual assaults. UN said on Friday it had received credible reports of widespread violations and abuses, as well as continuing clashes in Sweden after days of bloodshed in and around a predominantly Druze city in southern Syria. Reports indicated summary executions, arbitrary killings, kidnappings, looting and destruction of property. UN High Commissioner for Human Rights spokesperson Ravina Shamdasani said in a Geneva briefing, "Needs on the ground are considerable." The Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees said, with water in short supply and hospitals overwhelmed by the number of injured needing treatment. The Syrian Network for Human Rights, an independent monitoring group, said it had documented 254 people killed in 4 days of fighting, including medical personnel, women and children. The UN estimated on Thursday that about 2,000 families had been displaced from the affected areas by violence in Sweden province. The UNHCR said its number was continuing to rise.
Received indicate widespread violations and abuses, including summary executions and arbitrary killings, kidnappings, destruction of private property, and looting of homes in the southern city of Sueda. Among the reported perpetrators were members of the security forces and individuals affiliated with the interim authorities, as well as other armed elements from the area, including the Druze and Bedouin. I spoke to colleagues this morning and they said what they're hearing is that some clashes are continuing and that a lot of people are trying to flee or have fled the area.
The needs are considerable. They range from access to health. Many of the hospitals have been overwhelmed by the number of people who have been injured in the recent fighting. Many of the people who were displaced had to leave at very short notice, so they need things like blankets, like jerry cans, like solar lamps, and so on. We have this in stock and we are ready to deliver them as soon as the security allows it. For now, this has not been possible. Water shortages are also a grave concern because electricity outages have disrupted the water supply. So, and people cannot even buy bottled water, food, or other items because of the insecurity.
An explosion at the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department training facility on Friday killed 3 deputies, the department said. Explosion took place at a Biscayne Center Academy training in East Los Angeles, the department said in a statement without releasing more details. Los Angeles Times newspapers, citing unnamed law enforcement sources, reported that the blast took place when a bomb squad moved some explosives. Heavy monsoon rains across Pakistan's Punjab province killed at least 63 people and injured nearly 300 in the past 24 hours, provincial officials said on Thursday. The downpours caused flooding and building collapses, with most of the deaths caused by the roofs of weaker homes falling. Lahore, the eastern provincial capital, reported 15 deaths, Faisalabad 9, and the farming towns of Okara, Shahiwal and Pakpatan, several more. Since late June, the monsoon rains have killed 103 people and injured 393 in Punjab alone. According to Provincial Disaster Management Authority, PDMA, more than 120 homes were damaged and 6 livestock killed. The National Disaster Management Authority, NDMA, gave a toll of at least 159 deaths nationwide since June 25 and said more than 1,000 homes have been damaged. It was one of the deadliest days of this year's rainy season so far. A high flood alert was issued for the river Jhelum at the northern town of Mangla, where water inflows were expected to surge to high levels, according to the Pakistan Meteorological Department. Authorities warned that adjoining streams could also overflow in the next 24 hours, putting nearby communities at risk. Some of the oldest ice ever recovered from Antarctica has arrived in the UK for climate analysis, more than 1 million years after it captured some of the Earth's atmosphere at the time. The ice core, drilled from a depth of 2,800 meters in the East Antarctic Peninsula, is expected to hold a climate record stretching back over 1.5 million years, nearly doubling the current 800,000-year ice core record. The ice core, drilled by Beyond Epica, oldest ice project team, would undergo meticulous analysis over the coming years at BAS and other European laboratories. Scientists aim to unlock insights into Earth's climate evolution, focusing on greenhouse gas concentrations, atmospheric temperatures, wind patterns, and ice and sea ice extent. A key objective is to understand why Earth's glacial interglacial cycles shifted from 41,000 to 100,000 years around 1 billion years ago, providing context for predicting future climate responses to rising greenhouse gas levels. Ice cores capture direct evidence of past atmospheric conditions through trapped air bubbles, which may be analyzed as they are released from the ice as it is slowly melted in a process called continuous flow analysis.
We are really interested in all these important processes that govern how carbon dioxide is exchanged between the atmosphere and the ocean. So we'll be looking at reconstructing past sea ice, for example, and marine productivity. So how much of that is drawn down by marine organisms in the ocean. Looking at the winds and the circulation pattern, that will influence how much CO2 can be released from the ocean. And all of this put together with the new CO2 record that we're going to be analysing in our colleagues' labs in Switzerland will really help to provide brand new insight into a time period that we really know very little.
That's the news this hour. I am Barikumo Ado. Thank you very much for watching. Up at the hour, we'll have New Day. Stay with us.